Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Jenny.
And this is our week 2 wrap-up for Trope-ical Readathon, only kind of late.
Kind of really late.
Yes.
So we were supposed to do this on Sunday, and we didn't. It is Wednesday night. And so we are updating what we've read from last Sunday to this Wednesday.
Yeah. And maybe since you have so many, do you want to go first?
Okay. Are we going back and forth? Or?
I think so.
Okay. So the first book that I read after last Sunday was an ebook called Chocolate Cake for Breakfast by Rosie Green, and that was for a book tour. I've already forgotten what it was about, so that's great.
Looks like you didn't expect it to cover so many tragic, dark themes.
Oh yeah, I have a little reading planner that has all my notes in it from the books that I've read, so that's what I wrote as my thoughts. I rated it 3.5 stars.
Alright. At the end of the last video, I mentioned that I had started The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones, and so I finished it. I'm using this for the Blast from the Past prompt. Basically, something happens in these 4 people's past, and it kind of comes back to haunt them. It's definitely a horror novel. Definitely gets very gory and horror-y. But yeah, it's good.
The next book I read, we also don't have because we borrowed it from the library and just returned it. This is kind of an epic love story by Casey Callender, and I rated that one 2.5 stars. I didn't like the characters. I thought they were not likable.
I know what you mean, but I feel like I think I told you, I liked the writing, or I don't know. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I have a hard time enjoying books if I don't like the characters. Like, you've read books that I haven't enjoyed because of the characters before, and you've been fine with them. That is the teen romance book, but I also read the other teen romance book, so I don't know if I'm going to try and count it for something else. Yeah.
Okay. Then I moved on to The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon, which is the first book in the Bone Season series. There's planned 7 books, but I think only 4 of them are out. It felt kind of young adult, but maybe it's new adult. I don't know. It's like a kind of sci-fi fantasy set in the future where some kind of aliens from another dimension or something have taken over. And the main character is trying to live her life. She's got kind of magic. Magic isn't really allowed type of thing. It was good. I'm looking forward to reading the second one.
Cool. Which is good because I bought that for you.
Yes. For Christmas.
Me and my sister. Both. The next book I read was The Love Hypothesis by Hazelwood. Right, Hazelwood. I rated this one 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. And I don't think I used this for a prompt. Right? Was it planned for a prompt? I don't think so. I think I just read it. So yeah, it's about a dentist student. She's a 4th year, I think. She's about to graduate, and she wait, no, I'm thinking of Brush with Love. This is about a chemistry graduate student who starts fake dating a professor.
Right.
Yeah, that's what that one's about. Which is apparently a Raylo fanfic, so I just pretended that it wasn't when I read this because I don't like Raylo.
Alright, the next book I read is right here, and it is Want by Cindy Pon. I read this for the Cyberpunk, which is a sci-fi team challenge. It's a YA Cyberpunk, so it's the first YA Cyberpunk that I read, and I think it's the first in a duology. But yeah, there's something nefarious happening with a technology company, Cyberpunk.
The next book I read was The Last Star by Rick Yancey, which is the 3rd and final book in the 5th Wave trilogy. I read this for post-apocalyptic, and it's about alien apocalypse. And I rated it 4 stars.
The next book I read was The Ivory Key by Akshaya Rahman. So this is the fantasy teen book. That's what I read it for. And yeah, I guess you read it last time, so you probably already said something about it. I think
That's when I said ragtag, and you were like, that's my word.
Right, because I said ragtag.
Mm-hmm.
ragtag group of siblings that kind of each have their own reason for looking for this thing, and it's the first book in a duology. I think like the very end like kind of hooked me, where I'm like I kind of want to know what's gonna happen.
When I read it, I didn't realize that it wasn't a standalone, and so I got to the end and I was like, what the heck? Yeah, so that was my bad. Okay, the next book I read, maybe I realized when I was planning my books for this video that I totally forgot to log one of the books. So it was A Brush with Love, which is the other teen romance book by Maisie Eddings. This is the one that I got confused with the love hypothesis a few minutes ago. This is about a dentist student. She's like 4th year or something. She's gonna graduate, and she starts falling for a 1st-year dentist student, but they're trying to stay friends because she doesn't want to be distracted, and you know how that's gonna go. So I don't remember what I rated this because I forgot to log it.
I think you liked it. I seem to remember you liked it.
Yeah, I think I
don't know.
Oh yeah, I was like, these people are so cute.
Yeah,
like,
really
I thought the romance was super cute. So I think I rated it either 5 stars or 4.5.
Yeah, something like that. That sounds right. And then that's all the books that I finished. Just today, I started kind of on a whim, The Glass Hotel by Emily. Why am I blanking? St. John Mandel. Emily St. John Mandel. And I'm really liking it so far. It wasn't on my TBR. I think I can use it for. I feel like reading. What's wrong?
Sorry. Look at the stripe. It's gray, but it's like beige on the camera because of the light.
Yeah, it's shiny.
Sorry.
It's kind of reflective.
Sorry.
It's a pocket.
Yeah, so you can take like old portraits, paintings where you have your hands stuck there.
Move.
Yeah.
Okay,
sorry. I got super distracted.
Oh yeah, I was thinking it would work probably for absent dead parents, and I think it would definitely work for multiple POV. So I'll be able to fit it in somehow. But yeah, it was just kind of on a whim.
Cool.
That's it for me.
Okay, so then I read Stamped by Jason Reynolds, and I think Ibram X. Kendi is credited as an author. I don't really understand.
Like an adaptation
Jason Reynolds like made a YA version of the adult book by Ibram X. Kendi, so I think they're both credited as the author on this. I really liked it. I rated it 5 stars. It's a nonfiction book. I wasn't planning on reading this, so I don't know what I would
what prompt
count it for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. The next one was...
It is a remix.
Yeah, so I didn't know if it was going to count as a retelling. Okay, so the next book was Jackpot by Nick Stone. I was super excited to read this because I really like all of Nick Stone's books, but I didn't like this one as much. I rated it 3 stars. It's about a girl who finds out that there was a ticket that she might have sold that won a jackpot, and so she goes on this like quest with this boy from her school to try and find the woman that she believes who bought the winning ticket, to try and tell her that she bought it because she hasn't claimed the winnings yet. Okay, next is The Short Second Life of Bree Tanner, which again I wasn't planning on reading, so I didn't count it for anything. It is like book 3.5 in the Twilight Saga because it takes place between Eclipse and Breaking Dawn. So if you've read Eclipse, you already know how this is going to end because it happens between, like in...
You've read Breaking Dawn?
No, if you read Eclipse, like
right?
this takes place like kind of simultaneously
Eclipse, but is it
during
about
Eclipse,
a character introduced in Eclipse, right?
Yeah, and I think she maybe had like a brief cameo in the movie or something because of this book.
Oh, because of that book.
Yeah, so I rated it 4 stars. The next one is The Bone Houses by Emily Lloyd Jones, which again was not a book I was planning on reading. Like half of the books that I've read this month were not books that I plan on reading. It's just the library had them available in audiobook, and I've been listening to more audiobooks so that I can multitask at the same time. So this I rated 3 stars. It's kind of like a zombie apocalypse type of deal. It's not really apocalypse. It's just that there's this like creepy forest and there's these bone houses, which are just basically like living skeletons that have been slowly creeping out of the forest and kind of being sketch and attacking people. So That's what this is about. The next book I read is Darling by Kay Ankrum. I rated this 3.5 stars. I wasn't going to use this for a prompt. Again, I wasn't planning on reading this, but it is a retelling of Peter Pan, so it does have that trope in it. I already read a retelling, so I might have to move things around. It was super interesting, the premise of being a retelling of Peter Pan. I just didn't really, I don't know, like the way that the plot was told. But it was really interesting. The next book I read, oops, not this one.
Not all Lost Boys should be saved. Sorry. Good tagline.
The next book I read was The Princess Diaries by Meg Cabot. Because I also have a Megan Abbott
oh yeah, I see that.
author. Yeah, Meg Cabot, which I borrowed from the library, so I don't have the physical copy. I read that for best friends siblings because I knew that it was going to have that trope from watching the movie. But it's actually very different from the movie. It still has that trope, but I was surprised by how different it was from the movie. I definitely preferred the movie to the book.
There's no Anne Hathaway in the book.
Yes, but the audiobook is narrated by Anne Hathaway.
Mm-hmm.
So I rated that one, I rated that one 3 stars. Okay, the next book I read is The Verifiers, which is the mystery horror thriller teen book. The new book for that by Jane Peck. This is about a person who works for like this agency that kind of background checks people on your dating app to see if they're who they say they are. And it's about a woman who works there, and she breaks protocol to investigate a client who like dies under suspicious circumstances, and she wants to figure out what the heck happened.
So it's kind of like a cozy mystery?
Yeah, so it's kind of like a cozy mystery, and it makes a lot of references to cozy mysteries. She reads cozy mysteries, and she keeps comparing herself to the protagonist of a cozy mystery that she reads, so it kind of has bookish themes in that aspect. So I rated this one 3 stars because I think I thought the plot was a bit too convoluted for me. The next book I read doesn't count for anything because it was a children's book that I read for a book tour. It's called Pink, Blue, and You, and it is by an author and an illustrator. Elise Gravel and Mikhail Blaze, I think. I don't know how
I would say
pronounce
Elise
it.
Gravel.
Oh yeah, sorry. They are
I think the
French Canadian, so he should say their names
Elise
because
Gravel and Michael Blais.
yeah, so he is French Canadian if you didn't know, so I should have just had him say their names.
I've forgotten. Like, oh yeah, who wrote this? And I looked, I was like, oh, I remember that.
Yeah, so I rated this one 5 stars. It's super awesome. It's a children's book about like gender stereotypes, gender identity, and sexuality. So it's really nice.
Yeah, I read it too. Actually,
I made him read it.
I didn't like count it at all, so I didn't think of putting it in my pile.
Oh, yeah.
But I also read this book, and I also really liked it.
The next book I read was Sisters of the Snake, which again was not on my TBR. It does have 2 authors, so it could count for the alternate prompt for absent dead parents. But like all of the books that I've read that are YA have absent dead parents, so it's not like I don't have other options for that trope. This is it's also a retelling. It's a retelling of The Princess and the Pauper, and so it's about
Is it The Prince and the Pauper?
I think this happened last time I said The Princess and the Pauper. I think I'm thinking of The Princess and the Pea.
Yeah.
And then there's The Prince and the Pauper. So it's a retelling of The Prince and the Pauper, I guess. So there's a princess and there's this other chick who like steals things to live, and they're identical, and so they switch places.
Identical?
Mm-hmm.
They're identical twins?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, because they look different on the cover?
I mean, they do look a bit different on the cover. I just didn't know.
But yeah, they switch places because they're identical. Okay.
But they just looked alike.
No, they're identical except for like a beauty mark on the wrong side of the face or something like that. Next book I read was Tunnel of Bones for Victoria Schwab. By Victoria Schwab. And
Victoria
this was...
Schwab personally contacted.
Yeah. Victoria Schwab said, you better read this book for the readathon. And I said, I'll do it for you. But this was actually on my TBR. It's for platonic partnership. So it's the second book in a trilogy, maybe? It's the second book in a series. And Rob read or is going to read the first book. I don't
It's on
know
my
if you read it.
TBR.
Oh yeah, so
The City of Ghosts?
yeah. So Rob has the first book planned for Platonic Partnership on his TBR.
That's right.
Oh, I didn't say what I was rating these things. I rated Sister of the Snake 3 stars, and I rated this one 4 stars. And next book is You Will Know Me by, this is what I was talking about, Megan Abbott, not Meg Cabot. And this is a domestic suspense novel about a woman whose daughter is like a gymnastics prodigy, and one of the teen, I think he's maybe like 19 or 20 or something, gymnastics coaches dies in a hit and run, and so it's like everyone's sketch and she's trying to figure out what's happening.
You told me like the beginning of this, but I had no idea what ended up happening. I didn't know he died. Did you tell me that?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember.
I told you the premise. Did I tell you?
That was part of the premise?
I mean, that's kind of what the book is about.
Okay.
I'm not like spoiling things.
No,
for
I know
anyone.
you're not spoiling.
Okay. I rated that one 3.5 stars. The next book I read, we also returned to the library yesterday. It is Seeking Whom He May Devour, which is a very strange title.
It's a translation from a French book that has a not nearly as weird title in French.
Yeah, so we
But
started
is that like
it.
a quote from the Bible or something?
Yeah, we looked it up and it's some kind of quote.
Yeah.
We started it to do it as a buddy read together like 5 billion months ago, and Rob finished it and I did not. And so I finally finished it because I ran out of what is it called? When you renew. I ran out of renewals at the library.
There's like 15 renewals.
Yeah, we have like 15 renewals and I ran out of renewals, and so it was due, so I had to read it. He read it in French, I read it in English. What's the French title?
Yeah, I'm looking. Let's see, I don't remember.
Is that not it?
Le Malanga, which means like the inside out man. Because it's about, like, basically people think that there's like these werewolves that are killing these,
Or a werewolf.
A werewolf that are, and I guess the way that the legend goes is that a werewolf is like an inside out man.
Yeah, so it's like believed that the man will have like no hair because all of his hair is on the inside, and so you have to like slice them open to see that all their hair is on the inside to prove that they're a werewolf. So
Yes.
that's kind of the premise, is these people trying to hunt down this werewolf that they believe is killing people and a bunch of sheep. Sheep is in the animal, not as in like the term for people.
Just to clarify.
The next book I read is The Kingdom of Bag by Marie Lou. I don't know.
I guess it would be Marie.
And this is kind of like, I don't know if you would consider it like a retelling, but it's like a historical figure trope like we had before. It's about Nannerl. That's a hard. That's a hard name to say. Nannerl.
There's like no E between the R and the L, right? It's just like Nannerl.
I don't know. That's not her name. It's like her nickname.
Oh, okay.
Mozart's sister. And about how it's kind of like a story of them as kids growing up and her being overshadowed by her brother's talent. But it's also a fantasy because they both kind of have this fantasy world that they visit in their dreams. So I rated this one 4 stars, and I rated Seeking Whom He May Devour 3 stars because I forgot to say that. And then the last book that I read was The Sound of the Stars. I just finished it today. And this is the sci-fi book.
Yeah,
One of the team sci-fi books, because we brought it from the library, you can see. I rated this one 4 stars, and I think we've already talked about what it's about. It's about like this
I talked about
human and robot alien type caricature who team up to try and kind of save the world from an alien invasion.
And you've started.
I have started the Midnight Library physically, and I have started an audiobook of If I Tell You the Truth, which is back here.
Oh, right, this one.
Yeah.
Is it in verse?
I think so.
It isn't a poem, though.
Yeah, so I started the audiobook of this tonight after I finished The Sound of the Stars. Yeah, so it's not really in verse, you see?
Some of
Like
it's
there's
verse.
random ones that are in
there.
verse,
Okay.
and there's random. Oh, there's
There's
a
also
picture of a
broken
Whoa!
cell phone. Maybe you should read it.
Sorry, look at this. Look at that. Look.
And then a cracked cell phone. Was that a picture of a cracked cell phone?
Look at that. That's fancy.
Yeah, maybe we should be reading it.
Maybe I should be reading it. Rip. Okay, maybe I'll switch to actually reading this because that looked cool. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
I guess that's it. Thank you for listening, and hope that your reading's going well too.
And I don't know when the next update's going to be because my parents are visiting next week, and so I probably shouldn't. They'll be sleeping in this room, and so it's not like we'll kick them out and be like, we have to film our video, because we always film these videos at like 1 a.m. So yeah, I don't know when the next video is going to be, but
soon enough.
Hopefully.
Yeah. All right. Bye.